You see, you can't get enlightened. And we could take two references to you. You, the ego self, the character in the story of I, it's a fictional character. It's created out of thought. It goes, all day long it plays like a soap opera. That character is never going to get enlightened because that character doesn't exist. And then your true self, the consciousness, that is the ground of all this, the Brahman, the Buddha nature, the, whatever, that's never going to get enlightened because it is enlightened. It never lost any enlightenment. You see what I'm talking about? So, okay. So this is the point. If we look at it from the point of view of the ground, the cockroaches and the bush sprites and the shark spirit helpers and all that are all manifestations of that consciousness. It's not like the consciousness is in them. They are waves on the ocean. And, okay. So if you want to say, can waves don't get enlightened is what I'm trying to say. And this is why you want to get a really precise definition. You can't. It's paradoxical. You can say things like, I just was reading, rereading Garb Dorje. Awareness discovers awareness. It's that simple. Consciousness discovers consciousness. Another way to looking at it is attention is like a wave of consciousness. I'm not talking about the kind of waves like forms, but attention is the power of consciousness to go and focus on different forms, right? So right now, consciousness here is focused on the screen here, right? Now, can consciousness, as long as consciousness focuses on the screen, it's not aware of the consciousness, the ocean of consciousness, in a aha sense. Now, if that consciousness, if that wave of attention were to collapse back into the ocean of consciousness, just for a moment, then consciousness discovers consciousness. Awareness discovers awareness. Aha. And then the waves, kick up again. But it's been discovered. The God the hidden God has known God. In terms of a given paradigm, like a scientific paradigm, then the Big Bang is relatively true. But there's no objective way to stand outside of paradigms and decide which paradigm is true and which isn't. So to me, all the religions and all the scientific theories, they're like novels that you bring. And you say, this is a great novel. Oh, read this one. This is really beautiful. This got so much insight about life and all that. And somebody else brings another novel and says, no, this is really great. And then somebody comes along and says, yeah, but this is the true novel. I said, what are you talking about? This is the true novel. I might like one novel better than another. I might prefer it to another novel. I might be able to give you good reasons why I prefer it. In fact, that's what literary criticism is all about, isn't it? But you don't say about one novel it's true and another, and the rest of them are all false. Well, see, this is what these conceptual systems, whether they're religious systems, scientific systems, astrology, whatever. I have strong preferences, by the way, of certain systems that I think they're more valuable. I think they're more useful. I found them to be, and I don't mind having an argument and talking about that. But it's not a question of which one is true or not, because there's nothing outside beyond beyond the appearances. And the appearances are determined how we think about them. There's no paradigm-independent reality. And that's the mystic's position. And that's my position, certainly, and I think it's the mystic's position. The world appears to us through our thoughts, through our distinctions. And so if you create one set of distinctions, the world appears to you this way. If you create another set, the world appears to you this way. And one way isn't more real than another way. The reality is below all this play. This is why almost every mystical tradition has this analogy that this world is like a dream. There's no substance behind the dream. The dream is just the play of the mind. So you might have a nightmare one night, and you might have a dream you're in paradise, and you might prefer to dream of being in paradise to the nightmare. But in terms of the substance of what the dream is made of, it's all just made of consciousness. There's no reality standing behind it. And I like to say it this way. The universe is trying to wake you up. All this is God. See, God appears to you and say, look at me in this form. You don't get it? That's fine. God's very patient. God will appear in some other form. He'll a cockroach will go across the room. Here I am. Oh, you didn't like that one. Well, on and on and on. Very patient, waiting for you to wake up. Every moment, as a great Kabbalist, Joseph ben Shalom of Barcelona, medieval Kabbalist, said, God in his nothingness, God in his Ein Sof, appears between every transformation of every phenomena. This is very Zen. I mean, you read that, you can't believe it. He knows exactly what the Zen people know. Between every transformation, there it is. It's a boom, boom. And that's why in Zen particularly, they're famous for waking up, somebody slaps you on the face and boom, it's like suddenly something sudden happens. Something's there, it's not there, and it's revealed. And whether that happens in deep samadhi, you're never going to get enlightened in deep samadhi. You're going to get enlightened just as you're coming out of deep samadhi, or something comes into your samadhi, like the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree. He sat all night and he understood intellectually all karma and the laws of this and so forth and so on. He wasn't awake yet. And then dawn came and the morning star appeared. Woke up. See, he needed that morning star. Something and nothing. It's both.